What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Locks DFS MLB Breakdown. My name is Narang. I'm from LocksDFS.com, and I'll be breaking down this 14-game main slate for DraftKings and FanDuel on Friday, June 28th. Before I get into that, though, if y'all want to go ahead and leave a like and comment on this video, not only would it mean a lot to me and Christian as far as getting more traction on this channel, but you'll be entered into winning a free season pass of your choice. As always, you guys know we run the same giveaway every single week, and this is your last day to take part in this week's giveaway. Because we do post videos Monday through Friday, and we like to give a free season pass to those of y'all who are leaving likes and leaving comments. So we pick a winner every Monday, and we announce that winner on every Monday's video. So if you do want a chance at winning that free season pass for this week, go ahead, leave a like, leave a comment. And if you do just want to join the team and check out our product, it's locksdfs.com. We give you an in-depth lock sheet that comes with player grades, color coordinated as far as how we view the players as GPP plays, cash game plays, value plays, etc. Also comes with a first look and a top stacks article done by Christian and I, and access to our private members only Slack chat, which is full of valuable information as well, where we talk about the slate, every slate, we tilt it together as well, or we sweat it together, depending on how it's going. But yeah, so go ahead and check out locksdfs.com if you are interested in that. So with that being said, let's jump into the slate. Like I said, it's a 14-game slate. It's big. There's a ton of pitching options to look towards and a lot of batting options as well. So let's start with pitching. I'm going to go ahead and start with my favorite high-price pitching option, which is going to be Mike Clevinger at 9.6K, coming off the IL. So he was actually out for a while. I forgot what his injury was. Then he came back, and in his start back, he injured his ankle in this Texas start. So he was out for 2 months, came back, threw 91 pitches, which is sort of the big key here. And he looked great doing it. Yes, he did give up 5 runs, but it was only on 3 hits. So he gave up a few walks. But aside from that, I mean, all his pitches looked awesome. His velo looked great. He looked like vintage Clevinger, and his numbers dictate that as well. Just 3 starts, 16 innings of sample size, but massive strikeout upside here. 1.59 xFIP to righties, 2.12 to lefties, 16.71 K per 9 to righties, and 14.9 to lefties. Just been all kinds of dominant this year. Probably Cleveland's best pitcher. And he's got a great matchup versus the Baltimore Orioles. They opened at a 3-9 team total, have since dropped to 3-7 with added line movement on Cleveland. So a lot of love for Vegas on Cleveland, and I tend to be in line with that as well. I think Mike Clevinger for the price makes a ton of sense to pay up for. Not worried about his pitch count, even coming off the IO after 2 short injury stints. And then in the low price range, it actually gets a bit interesting. There's quite a few options you can look towards. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to want to gem in some Dodgers tonight, especially after last night. So you're going to probably see a lot of people come down here in this cheaper price range. And I think for this range, you can look towards a couple guys in one game specifically. That game is the Miami-Philly game. It opened at an 8-5 team total, and since there have been 79% of bets on the over, yet it's dropped half a run, which means this 21% of bets on the under contains more money than this 79%. Like to call that reverse line movement. There's a lot of sharp money on the under here, and I tend to agree. You got 2 pretty good pitchers in a really good pitcher's ballpark. So you got Vince Velasquez on one end, who Philly is trying to add to their rotation, make him their 5th starter, which makes a lot of sense considering he does have a lot of potential as a starter. He was fairly dominant a couple years back. We used to play him in DFS a lot as a high strikeout guy. And he's sort of more or less the same here. 4.89 xFIP to righties, 4.77 to lefties. Not great. That number is definitely buoyed by the fact that he gives up a lot of home runs per 9. 2.2 to righties, 1.96 to lefties. But the strikeout upside is really what you're targeting here. 11.93 K per 9 to righties with a 7.85 to lefties. And as we know with this Miami lineup, it leans heavily right-handed with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 righties in the pitcher spot. That's 7 out of 9 bats are right-handed. So definitely a good spot for him. He only threw 57 pitches last start as they're trying to work him up. So even if he pushes, and he put up, I should say, like 17 fantasy points in about 5 innings. So even if he works up towards sort of the 70, 75 pitch count mark, would be a little bit low for sure. But in this spot with this kind of strikeout upside, I think it makes a ton of sense as well. So I will be looking towards him, sort of ownership dependent. If he's coming in overly owned, then I might come underweight on him. But if he's coming in unowned, then I'm definitely going to be overweight on him. And it's sort of the same with the other guy, Eliezer Hernandez. He's projecting as a little bit higher owned, actually the third highest owned starting pitcher as of right now. Definitely makes some sense. He's sort of in the same mold. Good high strikeout pitcher that's very, very dominant versus right-handed bats. 3.35 xFIP versus righties with a 12K per nine, but versus lefties, he's awful with a 6.47 xFIP and walking almost twice as many batters as he's striking out. Pretty matched with his hard contact, 54% hard contact to lefties, only 30% to righties, but he does have more of a fly ball lean to righties at 57%. Not too worried about both of these pitchers' fly ball leans because this is a huge Marlins park. Maybe being a fly ball pitcher here is a little bit even more conducive to success just because of how big the ballpark is. So this Philly lineup does come out fairly right-handed most days. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a pitcher spot, so 6 righties out of 9 bats, with the lefties being Bryce, Bruce, and Cesar. Definitely a decent spot for him, and like I touched on, the under is being hammered by sharp money in this game, so definitely interested in taking a shot on one of these guys as a cheap price SP. But with that being said, let's move on to some batters. The first spot I'm going to talk about is going to be fairly chalky. Everyone knows about it already, but I'd be kind of a fool not to mention it on the video, and that's going to be the Dodgers versus Antonio Senzatella in Coors Field. The weather in this game, I should start by touching on that. This is Kevin Roth again. He mentioned good hitting weather in an already good hitting spot. Last night in similar weather, the teams combined for 7 home runs and 20 runs. So the ball is absolutely flying in Colorado right now. I live here. I can attest to it. It's hot. It's like 95 degrees. And obviously it's Coors Field. So a great spot for both of these teams. I think you can get the Rockies again as a very low-owned, interesting GPP stack. But for cash games, you're going to want to have some exposure to the Dodgers. Senzatella's got a 5.77 xFIP versus lefties, walking more than he's striking out, with a 4.46 xFIP versus righties. Obviously giving up too many home runs, 1.65 per 9 to lefties, 1.02 to righties. Sort of backed up by his hard contact, 35% to lefties, 41% to righties. Doing a pretty decent job of getting ground balls versus right-handed bats, but way too many line drives versus lefties. Just a great spot. We see the Dodgers team total again open up too low. It opened at 6.5. It's since been hammered up to 7.4 with the over in this game being matched. It's up a run and a half in about, I don't know, since the line opened, about 5-6 hours. So a bunch of movement on the over here, and I tend to agree. I think you're gonna have to get some Dodgers in your lineup in cash games just because of how popular they're gonna be and the likelihood that they go off. But in tournaments, I think you can get off of them and just hope for not a Coors Field special. Even a 6-5 type of game wouldn't burn you if your other stacks do well. So I think a low-owned stack that you can look towards as a pivot maybe in GPPs or as a complementary stack in cash games is the Angels versus Mike Fiers. They are an Angels ballpark, which I talked about. A lot of people perceive as a pitcher's ballpark, but in actuality, it's actually a fairly good ballpark for home runs. The home run numbers there are up. It's one of the top 10 parks in baseball, I believe, for home runs. So definitely not as much of a pitcher's ballpark as people view it as. And you're going up against Mike Fiers, who's a heavy fly ball pitcher, giving up a lot of hard contact. So he's got a 5.97 xFIP to righties, 5.1 to lefties. He's been reverse splits his entire, I believe, his whole career. Fairly reverse splits at least. He's got a 1.9 home run per 9 to righties and 0.96 to lefties. Sort of backed up by the hard contact as well. You see a slightly higher fly ball lean versus right-handed bats at 47% versus a still pretty high 39% to lefties. Hard contact slightly higher versus right-handed bats as well at 39% versus lefties, which is at 35%. So definitely interested in him. Obviously, him pitching his home games in Oakland helps keep his numbers fairly serviceable because that is a massive ballpark. But like I mentioned with Angels Park, definitely suitable for home runs. And you have great prices on a lot of these Angels. So they're especially interesting because first off, you get guys like Justin Upton at 3.9, Ohtani at 4.7, even Tommy La Stella at 4K is a bargain. And then as far as a high-priced outfielder go, it feels like everybody is going to be clicking in guys like Cody Bellinger at 6K. If they can make space for one high-priced guy, it's going to be Cody. If they can make space for two, it's probably going to be Cody and Muncy. If they can make space for three, it's probably going to be like Cody, Muncy, and Verdugo, and so on and so forth. When you could add Jock to that list as well. So I think a guy like Mike Trout is going to come in incredibly low owned relative to it being Mike Trout in an awesome reverse splits matchup. Reverse splits righty versus a reverse splits righty in a good park for home runs. I really, really like him in this spot. So I think he makes for a really elite pivot off of a lot of these high-priced Dodgers in GPPs and also in cash games, to be honest. So yeah, with that being said, let's do some home run calls and let's get out of here. And the home run calls are going to be fairly straightforward. Both of them are going to come from the Angels. I believe in a few of these righties. So the low price home run call, 4K or below, it's going to be Justin Upton. He's a reverse splits righty versus Mike Fiers, who's a reverse splits righty in a good ballpark for home runs. Sign me up for that. And then Mike Trout as well, 5.5K. He'll be the high priced home run call. Same exact reason. Reverse splits righty versus a reverse splits righty in a good ballpark. 5.4 team total has since risen to 5.5. I could see that even ticking up a little bit farther. So I'll be interested in a few of these Angels bats, and they will both be a home run call for today. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, a like and comment, like I said earlier, means a lot. You'll be entered into winning a free season pass of your choice on Monday. So that being said, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you guys win a ton of money tonight, and I will see y'all on Tuesday. Peace.